Chapter 9. Home. "This place is turning out to be our very own bat cave, isn't it?" asks Jack. He opens the door to the Miller's Island Library, and I follow him inside. The lobby looks deserted, and I wonder where Ms. Bailey is. Maybe she's helping someone at the back of the library. "Should we just get started, or should we wait for Ms. Bailey?" I ask. "I don't think we can wait for her," says Jack. He points to a large framed portrait. We walk over to it, and I read the brass plaque bolted to the wall just under the frame. Caroline Bailey, 1967 to 2010. "Whoa," I say. "I really don't like this version of Miller's Island," says Jack. "Let's try to figure it all out so we can get out of here." I follow him to the public computers. We both log in using the printed instructions on an index card taped to the table between two computers. When I search Wisteria, about 50,000 results pop up, along with several images of the cell, one almost identical to the slide we viewed in Lab B. I click on the first link and see it's a report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Wisteria is a single-celled organism found in estuaries. It was researched at North Carolina State University. I whisper. "That must have been the lab we visited when we were in the 80s, says Jack. "This link says the bacteria most likely traveled to the river." "How?" I ask. "It wouldn't have come from rainfall." I remember reading something about a fish kill in science class. We were studying ecosystems and human impact on the environment. I know I'm close to solving this mystery, but something is missing. "What did Ms. Phillips call the excess water that comes from too much rain?" "Runoff," says Jack. "So where would runoff come from to get to the Neuse?" I ask. "What's upstream from the river?" Jack pulls up a satellite map of the Neuse River and uses the mouse to look at the surrounding land. "This all looks like farmland," he says. "That's it," I say. "This other article says the bacterium was caused by runoff from hog farms that were upstream." "So what flowed down from the farms?" asks Jack. What was it, I wonder? And then I remember Spiky and Blondie's curious comment in Lab B. "Those researchers said something about chemicals," I say. "No, they said there was no evidence of chemicals. But if the hog farmers weren't using chemicals, what was running off from their farms?" "It had to be something that was already in the environment there," says Jack. "So what's there?" "Mud, grass, farm equipment," I say. "Pigs, troughs, and their food," says Jack. "What about their waste?" I ask. "Where does it go?" Jack laughs. "Well, I've never actually been to a hog farm, but I'm guessing the pigs don't have modern conveniences." "Their waste," I say. "When it rained, the runoff must have carried the hog waste down to the river, contaminating the water. And that contamination caused the growth of bacteria that killed the fish." Jack types something into his computer. "Lots of fish," says Jack. "This article says over 1 billion fish died before they closed the river to the public." I hear the faintest tinkling sound and my eyes go automatically to the vial hanging around Jack's neck. "What is that?" I ask, pointing at the vial. Jack shakes the glass container and I look down at my own. At the bottom of the vial sits a crystal, the size of a grain of rice. It sparkles as it catches the light that streams in a nearby window. "How did that get in there?" asks Jack. "Gather your facts," I say, shrugging. A line of light is glowing along the seam of the walls where they come together, forming the corner where Jack and I are sitting. All of the walls of the library begin to split apart, and I feel Jack take my hand just as the windows blow out of their frames and fly off in opposite directions. The computers float upward, their cords dangling like strings trailing a balloon that's just gotten away from a 2-year-old. The last thing I see is the plaque under Ms. Bailey's name, glowing golden, before it tears loose from the wall and spins off like a shooting star. The cheap tiles of carpet flop around under our feet like fish out of water, then scatter away, making a checkerboard pattern in the sky, until each piece has drifted so far away I can no longer make them out. A few seconds later, the warmth of the beautiful hardwoods appears below us, and we drift down, landing gently into chairs that reach us just in time to prevent our thudding to the floor. Ms. Phillips has finished writing on the board and turns around, assessing all of us with one eyebrow raised. I look at the clock. It's 2:01 p.m. This seems more like it, I whisper to Jack. At least the time seems right. I wonder if the people are right. Chloe Mitchell stops in front of our pod. Think you're so smart, don't you, IntelliGrace? She says. Wow, you really got me, I say. If I say no, that means I think I'm stupid. If I say yes, that means I actually agree with you on something, and if that ever happened, I'd have to be stupid. That's a toughie for sure. Chloe rolls her eyes and walks off in a huff. Well, it seems we are back home, says Jack. His toe nudges my book bag nestled on the floor between our chairs. There don't seem to be any booby traps. I shake my head. After being tricked by the last version of Miller's Island, I think I'll wait for the true litmus test. Jack laughs. Neutrino? Neutrino, I say. The crystal in Jack's vial catches the light when he leans across the pod for the laptop. Let's see if we can figure out what triggered all of this. The screen is still open to Neutrino's page and the last post from 21 but 22. I read the thread again. Neutrino. Many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Probable or possible? 21 but 22. Possible equals not an option. Probable equals yes, in that the probability is 100%. 21 but 22. Are you with us? Neutrino. All day, every day. There's one more reply, one that makes me suck in a deep breath as I read it. 21 but 22. Are you still with us? I see it, says Jack, as if reading my mind. He closes the laptop with an uneasy expression on his face. I guess we know the how, I say. Or at least the who, says Jack. But I wonder if the what was real. What, I ask. Jack laughs, then opens another browser on his laptop. What we learned, the whole Fisteria thing. We learned about it on the other Miller's Island. I'm wondering if it really happened here. If so, was it the same cause and effect, and when did each happen in our world? Jack types in his search, then says, Yes, the fish kills did happen on the Neuse River, but what caused them? My mind races along with my heart. Have Jack and I stumbled upon support for retrocausality? Is there no link between hog waste and Fisteria? If there is no link between hog waste and Fisteria, does that mean fish kills on the Neuse River happened in our world before, or even without the cause? I lean over Jack's shoulder and read. I'm a little disappointed to learn it is similar to the articles we'd read on the other Miller's Island, including the connection between hog waste and Fisteria. Everything seems to have happened exactly as we discovered, the same cause and the same effect. Part of me was hoping to find something different. And then I wonder what's wrong with me that I actually hoped there was evidence to support retrocausality. If an effect could happen before its cause or without its cause, what would that say about the stability of the world in which we live? And while we didn't prove or disprove retrocausality, there's no denying that we did travel through time. We also entered a parallel world, a world in which we could have been trapped. A chill travels through my body just as the bell rings. The classroom fills with the sound of rustling paper and muffled voices. Ms. Phillips reminds us of our homework as we file out. I grasp my necklace and cradle the vial in my fingers. Jack closes his laptop and packs his things into his book bag. He grins at me. I think after everything we've been through, we deserve a ditch. I couldn't agree more. Don't I owe you a coffee? I ask. And as if he's done it 1,000 times before, instead of the one time in the other Miller's Island, Jack takes my hand and leads me outside into the warm sunshine. We walk hand in hand down the sidewalk and head to the beanery. When we get there, I feel relieved to see that Emma is at work. I drop Jack's hand, and he laughs. Says Emma when we walk into the coffee shop. Don't remember seeing today as a holiday on the school calendar. It's not, says Jack. We've just had a long, and I mean long, day. Feels like it was at least 30 years long. I nudge Jack in his side. I guess it's okay to ditch once in a while, says Emma. Have a seat, I'll bring your coffees. She's pretty cool for a big sister, I say brightly. I don't know how my parents would react if they walked in here right now and found me ditching school. A shadow crosses Jack's face, and he seems lost in a memory. Everything all right? I ask. Yeah. Listen, I need to tell you something. Emma's more than just my big sister, says Jack. She's my legal guardian. Guardian? I ask, confused. Yeah, my parents were killed in a car accident last year. They were coming back from my uncle's funeral. It feels as if the wind has been knocked out of me. I can't even imagine the pain Jack and Emma must have gone through. What they must still be going through over the loss of their uncle and both their parents at almost the same time, and all three of their deaths so unexpected. I feel a deep respect for how Jack and Emma have been able to keep it together after suffering such a devastating loss. Oh, Jack, I say, I'm so sorry. And suddenly everything makes sense. Why Jack spends every day at the beanery. Why he never talks about his parents the way I do. The way Emma dotes on him, fusses over him like she is now. You told her, didn't you? Asks Emma. Jack nods. And? Asks Emma. You were right, says Jack. I always am, says Emma. She sets our lattes on the table and bends down to hug Jack's neck. She gives him a smile and heads back to the counter. Right about what? I ask. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to feel sorry for me. When it first happened, everyone at school was so weird. No one knew what to say to me. They all just pitied me, and I couldn't take it if you looked at me the way they did. Emma was right because she said you wouldn't do that. She is right, I say. I am sorry you lost your parents, but I think it's amazing how you and Emma look after each other, especially after all you've been through. Thanks, says Jack. We sip our coffees in silence for a few moments, and then Jack does it again. So, I'm amazing, am I? I roll my eyes, but restrain myself from socking him on his arm, because I realize Jack must say these kinds of things as some way of coping. I glance over at the bookshelf and see the top 2 cups. The names on the rims are Travis and Claire. Jack follows my gaze. Yeah, those are my parents' cups. They bought the beanery 10 years ago. And now you and Emma own it? I ask. Jack nods. Yeah, it took some time going through the court system for Emma to be named my legal guardian. But it helped that our parents left us this coffee shop. Emma really runs the whole place. She won't let me work here officially until I'm older. But I help her close up every night. Hearing about what happened to Jack and Emma's parents makes me want to see my mom and dad even more. But there's no way I'm leaving Jack right now. Emma powers up the coffee grinder, and Jack leans forward, taking advantage of the cover the noise of the machine provides. What do you think we should do about 21 but 22? He asks. The rational side of me wants to open up Jack's laptop and delete Neutrino's page. I think about how scary the whole ordeal was and how I was so afraid we might not ever get back home. I think about how I hated being at the mercy of someone else's hands when we were stuck in the 1980s. I take a deep breath and remind myself all of that is over now and I'm safe. I'm ready to suggest we kill the whole project when something Jack said hits me. You said if you could, you'd go back to when your uncle knew you and spend some time with him and others. You were talking about your parents, weren't you? Jack nodded. I started thinking about time travel right after they died, says Jack. At first, it seemed kind of dumb, just some way for me to imagine seeing them again. I mean, I know I will see them again, one day. But if it were possible to see them sooner by going back in time, I wouldn't have to wait so long. That's why you were so interested when I brought it up. And now that you know time travel is possible, you still want to do it, don't you? I ask. How can I not want to? Asks Jack. His green eyes trap mine, and I know there's no way I'll deny him even the slightest chance to see his parents again. I don't hesitate when I say, then I think you need to get back to 21 but 22. Jack opens his laptop and pulls up Neutrino's page. 21 but 22. Are you still with us? Jack smiles at me and then responds, all day, every day. Any reservation or fear I felt over the possibility of going through that whole experience again melts away like the wax dripping down the candle that sits on our table. I know I'm way too young to think about the rest of my life. But for right now, there's no doubt in my mind that Jack and I are meant to do this together, and scary or not, I'm ready. In fact, I think my fear is what will propel me forward. We stay at the beanery until I feel it's not too early to be at home on a school day. I gather my books and stuff them into my bag. Don't stare at that too long, I say, pointing to Jack's laptop. He's been waiting for a response from 21 but 22, but nothing's come yet. You're right, he says. He closes the laptop and gives me a smile. Talk tomorrow? Tomorrow, I say. See you later, Emma. I wave at her and head outside. Knowing everything I do about Jack, I don't blame him when I catch a glimpse of him as I pass by the window and see him opening his laptop again. When I open the front door at home, Neutrino is running as fast as her short legs can carry her. She stops abruptly and slides into my ankles full force. Her tail is wagging so fast her entire body is swaying back and forth. I drop my book bag and scoop her up into my arms, so thankful to be holding her again. I carry Neutrino into the kitchen, where my mom and dad are drinking coffee. Sorry, kiddo, says Mom. She shows me a lump of blackened whatever it was that she was cooking. Looks like it's Chinese tonight. I laugh, then give her a squeeze. When I bend to hug my dad, he looks at me curiously. What's all this about? Am I really that stingy with my affections? I vow right then to never be that way again. Just glad to see you guys, I say. Do I have time to take Neutrino for a little walk? Go ahead, says Mom. I'll order dinner in about 10 minutes, and it should be here in about 30. That gives me plenty of time to walk Neutrino to the beach and back before supper. I don't ever stay down there too long with her because she quickly tires herself out, chasing the waves, biting them as if she could catch them in her mouth. I snag Neutrino's tiny leash from the counter, and her whole body perks up so much, I set her on the floor for fear of her wriggling out of my grasp. Come here, you silly dog, I say, snapping her leash to her collar. Neutrino bends down and picks up the slack of the leash in her mouth. She's always done that. It's as if she thinks she's taking me for a walk. I shake my head, laughing, and follow her to the door. I turn back one more time to put my eyes on my parents. A final confirmation that they are here and everything is just as it should be.